Hi, Phil.
Hey, Josh.
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm all right. Are you ready for the top five biggest hockey card sales from last week, Phil?
I slept over 10 hours and I have like 5,000 calories in me. Let's go. Phil's ready.
Oh, great. Well, in this week's top five list, we got a nice mix of players and cards, so I think you'll be excited. And there's a bonus card because we had a tie. So it's actually six cards this week. We're going to have to be expeditious and get through it. So should we get right into it?
I think we should start firing and rolling. Let's go.
All right. Well, here's a unique one to start the top five. It's a 1980 Topps Wayne Gretzky card number 3 record breaker PSA 10 that's unscratched. Well, it sold for $8,500 US dollars via eBay on January 31st. Hockey mouth was a thing in 1982, Phil. You see that?
Yeah.
Wayne's got a little bit of hockey mouth there going on. Now, at a PSA 10 grade, this card is a pop of 7. And per card ladder sales history, it's a new public sales record for any copy of this card. The previous high was $7,877 US dollars from last May.
Pretty close.
Now, well, what were you going to say?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah. What makes this card kind of unique, and especially compared to O-Pee-Chee, is the O-Pee-Chee version in 1980 did not have the scratch-offs in it. And so this is one of those instances where a Topps can actually be worth more. The last sale for a PSA 10 of the O-Pee-Chee without the scratch was for $4,000. So
Wow.
less than half of what this sold for. And I think part of the reason, of course, is if you're a kid in 1980, how do you not scratch this card? How did 80s survive?
You're scratching it 100%. I scratched 100%. My mom's bingo cards when she went to get a glass of water from the table. I would just go in quick and scratch them.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you like the novelty in the Topps from 1980 of the scratch, or do you prefer more just the traditional hockey card approach that O-Pee-Chee delivered that year?
It's always bothered me, the scratch. And I like it. I like gimmicky things, and I would have been a kid that scratches them. But I think I would prefer the O-Pee-Chee non-scratchable. But I would also love this beside an O-Pee-Chee to show both examples. So it's an important part of history. I just hope that future card creating companies don't do the scratch thing. They do the peel thing, right?
Yeah.
In some cards.
Okay, number 4. This is a biggie.
Oh, wow.
A 1984-85 O-Pee-Chee Steve Yzerman rookie BGS 10 pristine black label sold for $15,000 US dollars via eBay on January 30th. We did, of course, verify that it was paid for in Terapeak. Why it's so notable is I looked at every reporting system I could find. It's the highest publicly selling Yzerman card that I could find.
Of all time, eh? So just BGS is a dying horse that everyone keeps beating, but these BGS pristine 10s, they have some pedigree and they got some legs on the third market, eh?
Well, and it's the black label effect too, because remember, or if you're not familiar, it gets the black label distinction if all 4 subgrades are a perfect 10. So centering, corners, edges, and surface. You can still get the pristine grade without the black label if there's one of the subgrades that's a 9.5. And there's a huge price difference. So the last BGS 10 pristine that wasn't a black label sold for $8,100 US in April of 2022. So it's a huge premium for the black label. And it's one of 2 that exists. So there's 2 copies of BGS 10 pristine black label. I don't know. Are you a black label guy? Does it move you?
This is where I have to give full honesty. I don't like BGS slabs. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest grading guy, even though it's a very big part of our hobby and it's very important to certain other people. And I understand and respect that. I would love this. And that's where my ego, I guess, comes in, right? There's only 2 of these forever. I would love to be the one of 2 people to have this. And I don't like BGS. We really need to get a psychologist on our show.
Yeah, well, remember, you get to be subjectively irrational in this hobby, right?
Irrational. I want the BGS 10 black label.
Yeah, you're allowed to be hypocritical, I guess, in some regards about great. Yeah, there is something. I mean, it's one of the strongest brands in the hobby. It just moves you, right? You have like an emotional response when you see that BGS, that black label on a Beckett slab. So, yeah.
They don't give a BVG black label, eh?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. I've never seen one.
That's part of the Beckett problem, though, is that it gets so confusing between, what was it, BAS and BGS and BVG. And
Yeah, it gets
BBG
weird.
was supposed to be prior to 1981, I believe, but then there are some BGS that are prior to 1981 now, and they just
I had a
haven't.
Patrick Wan 9.5 BGS. I swear, a rookie card. Well, that would make sense because that's
That would be
after.
86, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, uh, a beautiful card, and really, of course, a really strong grade on that. Okay, we got to move on to.
Any Yzerman rookies?
No, this is a tough one to get to because you got to pay attention to registration
Yeah.
on this one. Just like the Gretzky rookie, it can get really wonky. There's a lot of like fine lines and stuff like that.
I have a few, and once you scan them in or look at them with a magnifying glass, there's so many differences and variables. So I would imagine this one would be pretty clean.
I would hope for $15,000.
Yeah, buy the card, not the grade, but this is a pretty good gauge, I guess. Eh?
Well, number 3, Phil, Mark Messier cracks the top 5 this week. Now, this 1980 O-Pee-Chee Messier rookie is a BGS 10 pristine, and it's not a black label because there's that one 9.5 grade on the surface. It sold for pretty big number, 18,300 US in January 31st via Heritage. It's the highest sale for any Beckett graded copy of a Messier rookie and the 6th highest public sale of any copy. There's 5 PSA graded that are higher. Now, the big question, and this points out a good example, and it may even pertain to the last card we looked at too, is that with these BGS graded 1980s hockey cards, are they sheet cut or are they pack pulled? Now, this card actually has some telltale signs that it could, in fact, have been sheet cut. How you typically tell that is well, first of all, you can notice the very perfect corners and edges and centering on the card, right? They all got the 10 grades. And as we know, with a lot of early 80s O-Pee-Chee, they were cut with dull blades, not wires, Phil. Don't say wires. That's not true. Dull blades, and you get that O-Pee-Chee rough cut that a lot of people like, where there's sort of fraying around the edges of the card. And in particular, when you have those perfect corners and edges and centering, and the surface is a 9.5 grade, that is a little bit of a clue that it could have been a sheet cut card, in that the sheets were rolled up and stored, and as they were rolled up, the surface was abrasive and led to scratching, and that's why a lot of them have that little bit of a ding on the surface. Now, if it is sheet cut, is it bad or wrong? No, not at all. It's more of like a collector preference thing, because all these cards were produced at the same time when the set. It's just that in the case of a sheet cut card, it would have been cut later versus cards that were cut at the time of production, put into packs, and then pulled out of packs.
I want to cut at the factory. That's my
cut at the factory. Yeah,
and I like pack pulled. I like pack pulled, and I like the frayed. It's usually the left side. I mean, you do get it on the right, but you get the heavy fraying on the left side. And I love that. I'm always on the lookout for a good Wayne Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookie, because the tops aren't really frayed. Better production value back then, better card stock. So that's why I like tops and respect tops a lot as well. I would take the Yzerman in a heartbeat over this card.
You would?
Oh, wouldn't even think about it. I don't like this card. Mark Messier looks like a caveman. Like he's going to go draw on the walls in his cave. So I don't particularly like this card. I love the Yzerman rookie. And we talked about that black label BGS thing. So what would you do?
No, the Yzerman could be sheet cut too. You don't know. And it doesn't mean this card was pack pulled either. It's just there's those indicators. And now part of the reason like why this BGS 10, which is technically a higher grade than a PSA 10, sells for less, and I mentioned this is the 6th highest sales, that PSA typically will not grade cards that they deem or feel are sheet cut. And if I don't know how the hobby as a whole feels about it, but if more people prefer the pack pulled cards, I kind of like the romance of it. The idea that this card came out of a pack in one day versus was stored and cut later on. But again, a pretty big sale and a big card. Yeah, is it the most appealing photo for his rookie? Probably not. All right, now at number 2, this is where we have our tie fill. This is where we get our bonus card. So the first one we're going to look at is this 1951 Parkhurst Gordie Howe rookie PSA 6 that sold for $19,520 at Heritage this past week on January 31st. I'm not trying to be too critical here, but do you notice the huge registration, like the halo
Yeah. Yeah.
on? Uh, kind of interesting. There might be a little bit of tilt to this card too. I'm
There's a
not
lot going
sure.
on. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on for it to be in my collection.
The other thing that stood out to me is in the auction listing, it was noted that this card came from the Dr. Jeffrey Griffith collection. You familiar with that?
Again with the doctors. Wait, what?
Well, so I looked him
Again?
up because I hadn't heard of him too. Now,
Okay.
Dr. Jeffrey is a historian and PhD. He's not like the one that checks your prostate bill. So not
Okay.
that kind of doctor.
Hey, I'm 43. Listen, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. And he has spent a good amount of his time like researching and contributing to hockey memorabilia and hockey cards. So he's written a few books. One of them he wrote in 2009 is called Gretzky Cards, which has 305 pages and details over 6,000 unique Wayne Gretzky cards in the book.
Holy
So I
crap.
thought we should probably have him on the podcast.
Yeah,
Maybe
do I
go
have to
look this
call
guy
him
up.
doctor though? Listen, for the
No.
it's because I have two friends that are doctors, and they do not want to be called doctor in other settings. So that's kind of stuck with me. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't understand. Like if I was a doctor and anyone ever called me a doctor outside of my doctor setting, it would make me very uncomfortable. But I find there's a lot of men that love it. So yeah, let's have him on the podcast. Sounds like it'll be great.
Yeah, there we go. I've seen you crack a slab, Phil. I'm not sure I'd want you operating on me.
Maybe I do
Where's my
need a doctor.
chainsaw?
Yeah. Lots of stitches. Lots of
Now,
stitches.
does it matter to you, like when you're looking at a card and it comes from a certain collection, like probably the most famous is the Patrick Waugh collection? Does that mean anything at all to you?
What do you mean? I've lost your track.
Oh no, like when you see a card for sale and it mentions that this is from like the Patrick Waugh collection.
Oh
from
no,
Dr.
I don't care
Jeffrey
about
Griffith.
that. No, not at all. No, it would mean
All
more to me if it was from a friend's collection. Like if Jeremy
Oh.
Lee had a,
Sure.
like he had a Brady Kachuk 101 Golden Treasure. He was really excited for me to see it. I was really excited to take it from his collection. I like that, friends with stories but someone I don't know or I'm not aware of. Like, hey, I bought this from, I got this from Golden, right from like Golden. Like, who cares?
No, I agree. I think I like that
Nice.
very much. Okay, the second number 2, members of tie,
Oh.
is this 2015 SP Athletic Connor McDavid. You heard of him, Connor McDavid? Familiar?
Oh, what a card! What a card! What an auto!
Yeah. It says 2015 SP Authentic Whop Feature Watch Auto Patch out of 100. Now it's graded a PSA 10 with an Auto Authentic, very beautiful patch. Sold for $19,520 US on February 1st by a Golden. Now, why do you think the collector did not grade the auto here? Maybe a little bit streaky there, a little bit. What are you checking out on the auto grade or what?
I don't get the auto grade. Sylvain always said cards that have 10 auto, 10 in the cards sell for big bucks.
Huge premium. Oh yeah.
And even when I was a big grader guy, when I would be heavily focused on cards that were graded in my collection, the auto 10 did not sway me from buying a card or not. I was actually a little upset if it had an auto 10 because I didn't want to pay the extra premium.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. I guess the real
I
question
thought for a minute
is,
you're talking about cards that you graded. It's like, oh, why did this get a 10?
Oh, no. I never got my when I did send my cards in, I never asked for the
You don't
auto.
get 10s. Yeah,
No, but I think you would have to grade this if you're looking for big bucks, even if it came back an 8. I get I want to protect the card. The PSA label adds this authenticity to it, even though it's pretty authentic.
Great
Yeah,
patch, beautifully designed card. I really like this.
If this is a card that's going to change hands a lot, get it graded. That's how I would look at that.
Yeah, good. Now it's the second highest public sale for McDavid Flop I could find per card letter sales history.
Oh.
A BGS 9 with that 10 auto grade sold for $22,800 in April of 2022.
Wow. I would rather this in a BGS 10 grade, right? Yeah. Imagine this in a black label. Oh, be pretty cool.
That would be, gosh, boy, Phil, you're all hot and bothered with the black label. Okay. Ready for number 1?
Let's go. Let's go.
Another BGS 10.
Oh, yeah. There's a different card.
Yeah. We see this one a lot. It's a 2005-06 SB Authentic Alexander Ovechkin Future Watch Auto out of $9.99. BGS 10 Auto 10 pristine, not a black label because the the edges are missing the 10 grade there on the card. It sold for $20,740 on February 1st at Golden. Now, $20K feels like a pretty big number to me, anyways, but it's nowhere near the high sale for a copy of one of these cards. So, Phil, in December of 2021, a PSA 10 sold for $43,200. There were 1,000 copies of this card made, and one sold for 43 grand.
That's wild,
That's
man.
wild.
So, what is a raw off the top of your head? What does a raw Future Watch Ovechkin sell for? 5,000, like ballpark.
I would say like 6 to 8 would be my guess, but I haven't looked it up.
So, okay, that's wild. So, what's that market cap like? That's over $5 million market cap. Like, let's just for
probably
one hockey card.
I would
That's
guess
insane.
there's very few of these that are raw left.
Yeah.
Again, we know you're not the biggest grading guy, but if you acquired a raw copy, would you leave it raw or would you?
Yes.
You would.
Yeah, I'm looking for one. I would love one. Like, let's just say a raw. Let's say most of them are graded and they're about $10,000. Some are 8 or 7. Some are 12, 13, and there's 999 of them. That's $10 million. That means one hockey card. Alexander Ovechkin Future Watch, just this card has a market cap value of $10 million.
Okay, you're at the expo, you go to a table, there's a raw Crosby, a raw Ovechkin. They're both the same price. You only have money for one. Which one do you buy?
I'm going Crosby, yeah. I got a big man crush on Crosby this year. Yeah, I do. I feel like I have a lot of years to make up for not hating on him, just not paying attention to him.
You've evolved. You do that all the time.
I've evolved. I'm an
You're
evolving
allowed
man.
to.
Yes.
18 goals, Bill. 18 goals away.
I know.
Yeah.
Still not going to do it.
Whatever. All right. Well, that's your
It's in
top
my contract.
5.
I gotta say it.
Yeah, it is in your contract. You have a contract? Wait. That's your top 5 selling hockey cards this last week. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And of course, we'll be back next week. See ya.